And back in the days, software was really hard. It was really hard to do software. And it turns out it's still really hard today. Most projects are still not working, and it's 2024. It's 20 years already in, and it's still not working. And I was on a journey to find out, why is that the case? What is the problem? Why are IT projects so difficult? I mean, I've been working as a freelancer, and I've seen all the projects, they failed, and everything we tried didn't really work out. There was agile, sounded great, didn't work. There was microservices, sounded wonderful, didn't really work. Nothing solved the real problems. So I went on a journey to find out, okay, what is the real problem? And it turns out it has absolutely nothing to do with technology. It has nothing to do with any methodology. It's basically all about communication and proper planning of your projects. Event modeling has absolutely nothing to do with technology. To be honest, I also plan my vacations using event modeling. So this is a bit crazy.
There you go.
But it works. It works.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I mean, like, how do you explain event modeling? Yeah, I know we've spoken a lot about event sourcing. How do you explain event modeling?
Event modeling is basically just you deconstruct a process into the smallest steps possible, and you put these steps onto a timeline so that everybody can read, okay, what is this process? How is this process working from left to right? You can read exactly how your software system is working, how your business process is working. It doesn't really matter. Any process can be visualized using event modeling. And the great thing is, it's such a visual and easy language that everybody understands it. I can explain event modeling to a business person in 5 minutes, and this person will understand how it works. It only takes 5 minutes because it's so simple. You do all these meetings, the daily scrum. It's basically just a reporting to the scrum master or a reporting to the product owner. And if you ask me, this is just a waste of time, because most developers are really capable of talking to their teammates without the daily scrum. We don't need this. And we don't need estimation meetings. We don't need these refinements. This is all a big waste of time, if you ask me. If you properly plan your system, you don't need anything of that. And
that's right.
As you said, most meetings are like that.
In a world filled with possibilities, one truth stands out. Everyone is a pathfinder in their own journey. Whether it's charting new territories in leadership, embracing the future with technology, or nurturing humanity, pathfinders are everywhere. Pathfinders, a platform built for everyone. We believe in the power of connection, the spark of curiosity, and the potential to inspire. Here we bring people together, not just as professionals, but as dreamers, thinkers, and change makers. Through engaging podcasts, thought-provoking digital conferences, and dynamic audio roundtables, and many more, we create spaces for meaningful conversations. We celebrate those who seek to understand, innovate, and lead. People like you. Pathfinders inspires. Pathfinders embraces technology. And above all, Pathfinders spreads a vision where leadership, innovation, and humanity converge to shape a better and brighter future. We are here to connect, to build bridges that transcend barriers, to share stories that matter, and to foster a community driven by passion and purpose. Be a part of this journey. Be a Pathfinder. Welcome to Pathfinders. Hey everyone, welcome to our brand new episode. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Martin Dilger. Martin, welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining from Germany today.
Yeah.
Appreciate you doing this. Martin, let me introduce you properly, so then we will dive into our conversation right in. Martin Dilger is the CEO of Nebulit GmbH, based in southern Germany, with
Yeah.
over 15 years of experience in the IT industry, including more than a decade as a freelance professional. He has taken on various roles such as software architect, coach, trainer, and consultant. Martin's journey began with a burning question: why does software planning remain a risky, time consuming process even in 2024? Isn't it? Probably that's why you wrote your book.
Exactly.
and, after,
Exactly.
and after years of witnessing stalled projects, ever changing requirements, and meetings that led nowhere, Martin realized the root of the problem lay in the planning stage itself. Determined to find a better way, Martin immersed themselves in exploring proven techniques, from event modeling and event sourcing to vertical slice architectures. Martin identified strategies that not only work but accelerate project success. However, the key insight was clear. Even the best tools and methodologies need a structured process to unlock their full potential. The realization led to a creation of Accelerate program, a game-changing approach for the software teams. Through Nebulit, how he now offers a comprehensive suite of solutions to help teams plan, design, and implement event-based architectures with confidence and efficiency. In addition to their work with Nebulit, Martin is the author of the acclaimed book Understanding Eventsourcing, which is topping the charts on LeanPub already. So this comprehensive guide provides invaluable insights to event-driven architectures and offering practical advice and real-world applications for teams looking to adapt these methodologies. Thank you, Martin. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to Pathfinders. I'm so looking forward to this conversation, man. Welcome. Please tell a little bit more in your own words.
Yeah, what a great introduction. Thank you very much for that. You already told everyone what I'm doing, basically. So yeah, I started my journey around 2007, 2008. I can't remember. And back in the days, software was really hard. It was really hard to do software. And it turns out it's still really hard today. Most projects are still not working, and it's 2024. It's 20 years already in, and it's still not working. And I was on a journey to find out, why is that the case? What is the problem? Why are IT projects so difficult? I mean,
Right.
I've been working as a freelancer, and I've seen all the projects, they failed, and everything we tried didn't really work out. There was agile, sounded great, didn't work. There was microservices, sounded wonderful, didn't really work. Nothing solved the real problems. So I went on a journey to find out, okay, what is the real problem? And it turns out it's has absolutely nothing to do with technology. It has nothing to do with any methodology. It's basically all about communication and proper planning of your projects. If you do that,
Right.
it seems to work. Yeah.
No, I can't wait to dive deep into like everything about event sourcing, event modeling, and whatnot. Like, take us a little bit back about your early stages of your journey. Like, I know you've spent more than like multiple decades working in the software industry. Like, how was your like early life? Like, how was your childhood even before you got into the journey of software? Like, how was that? How was journey? Just give us a glimpse of like how it looked like from your early stages in your childhood.
Yeah. I grew up in the countryside in Germany, so there was
Right.
not much computers, not much technology around. So I remember the first computer I touched, I was maybe around 10 or something. But the only thing I did on this computer was playing games, of course, like every child.
Right.
So it was really until I was about 24 or something, I was not really into computers, not really. So I studied computer science then, but well, it took me quite a while to figure out, okay, computer science and developing software especially is the thing I'm really interested in. So
Got it.
yeah, that was
Understood.
basically how I came to this, and it turns out I'm pretty good at developing software because I'm pretty good at understanding these things that you need to build software systems. But before I really started studying computer science, I was not aware of that. I even wanted to do something like communication. I wanted to study communication and tried different things. I even studied media design for one semester. So it took me a while to figure out, okay, computer science is actually what I'm really good at.
Yeah, and what was like the initial interest that led you on to the journey of like technology and software development? Where did that come from?
I cannot really tell you. I can remember I had a book about programming, and I just played around with it, and I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. That sounds funny. And
Right.
at some point in time, I just decided, okay, that's what I wanted to do, and then it all began.
Got it. Got it. So would you define that as your like pivotal moment in your early career that took you on this current path? You would say.
Yeah, I think that was about it. So at some point in time, I just realized, okay, it was not even programming and stuff like that. It was I wanted to solve problems from the early
Got it.
days. So solving problems basically led me to computer science because that's what you do all day.
Got it. Got it. And speaking to like some because I'm coming from a software development background, I still remember sitting like spending 16 hours a day sitting and writing on your Visual Studio and like churning out code after code and libraries, the DLLs, like you name it, right? So I'm coming from that background really helps. Although I don't write software as often these days, but I still like it. I love the passion around it.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest challenges is basically like transitioning from the early journey from being a software developer to being like a software consultant, and then you become a thought leader afterwards, right? Then you like employ like write articles about it, write books about it, like you did. So how was that journey how was that like 15-20 year journey real quick? What does that give you a glimpse when you think about it?
Yeah. To be honest, I never planned to be something like this. I never planned to write a book about event modeling and event sourcing.
Right.
This was all not planned.
Right.
I naturally, in all projects, without exception, I always felt into this role of an architect. Even when I started, I always felt into this role of the architect of the system. I think because I'm pretty good at communicating problems and how to solve problems, and I think this really helped me to advance in my career.
Got it.
And I have the benefit, if I'm interested in something, if I find a problem that really interests me, I dive into it very, very deeply, very quickly. So I really try to find out, okay, what is this all about? What is the background? How does it work? I really want to know how these things work from top to bottom. And maybe that brought me into the position I'm currently in. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you grow up, right? I mean, I'm 40 years old right now, and as I'm growing up, your philosophy changes like every 2 years or 5 years, and like what I thought like were my priorities 5 years ago are not my priorities anymore. I'm sure like people are around the world I'm speaking, they seem to relate a bit. Like, what is your like personal philosophy that basically influenced into professional work? You said like solving problems is your like go-to mission, but things like, do you have like a personal philosophy that impacted the work that you're doing?
So currently, as you say, this changes about every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Currently, it's really I want to solve this software thing.
Got it.
I gave a webinar in the beginning of 2024 where I said to all the people, and almost everybody laughed at me. I said software development will change completely, 100% within the next 2 years. And this is about 1 year. This was 1 year ago. This was in January 2024. And I still
when
think
ChatGPT was around, probably is that the time like
but it was not really about ChatGPT. It was about event modeling, about how we approach software systems. I have seen how it can work, how different it can be. And this was was around when it really, really started. When I thought, okay, now we're getting out with it. Let's do this.
Right. Got it. The event sourcing. I mean, like I like something what Greg Yang said.
Yeah.
Right. He mentioned about like I took that code and kept it. Like he said, like the state transitions are an important part of our problem space and should be modeled with our domain. Right. Before I get into Greg Yang and whatnot, like so this event sourcing and Kafka, like often they're often seen as like some niche technologies and very niche, like even into the software development world. Like what drew you into like Kafka and event sourcing? What was that draw into these niche technologies?
Yeah, first of all, so Kafka and event sourcing are two different things. They're not really the same, but
yes, of course,
they both live in this event-driven space where you don't think about okay, how do I store this in my database, and you don't think about technology, but you think about business problems. You think
Got it.
about, okay, what is the behavior of my system? What happens? What is the first step? What is the next step? How does my system behave? And
Yeah.
this allows, if you think in these events, and if you think in that way about software systems, it really allows you to think about the behavior of a system without all the technology buzz. And it turns out, if you leave out all this technology and everything, software at its core is actually pretty simple. Software is
Right.
pretty simple. It's that simple. All software systems can be broken down into a set of actions and reactions. You have something that
Right.
happens, an action, then you have a reaction, and this repeats all over the place. If you
Got
break
it.
it down like this, software becomes that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, speaking of software, there were like different tiers of different ways of doing software, right? There was this monolith and an end tier, and there is now like the distributed systems and whatnot. What do you think is not well understood when it comes to event-driven systems?
Oh, almost everything. Almost everything. So
Right.
I really think developers have a really, really hard time understanding event-driven systems because we are not wired to think that way, although it's a natural way of thinking about it. But the problem is most developers are taught CRUD-based thinking, state-based thinking for
100%.
decades. They learned this
Right.
stuff for decades. They learned the patterns. They read all the books. They read all the things about architecture, but they never learned how to really think about a system, how to properly plan a system. That's a different thing. And this is basically why I wrote my book.
Right.
It explains the other way, how it can be done.
Right. Right. Understanding Eventsourcing. Yeah. Anyone watching, go check it out. It's on LeanPub. It's on Amazon. Understanding Eventsourcing by Martin Dilger. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, that's perfectly pronounced. Yeah.
Right. Like, how do you see, Martin, like the event sourcing paradigm evolving in the next like 3 or 5 years? How do you see that transitioning?
I really think the combination I describe in the book, and this is also everything that Adam Dimitruk teaches and talks about for almost a decade now. I really think this will become the standard methodology of developing software because it's the simpler way. But right now, everybody thinks event sourcing is so difficult. It's all so difficult. Let's do the way we always did software because we know how that works. But it turns out this hasn't really worked. This has never worked. So I really think slowly we are becoming aware of what software really is and how simple it can be. And event sourcing is a big part of it, if you ask me. Some people might disagree.
Got it. Yeah. No. I agree. So you also see the evolving AI, right? I mean, like the NVIDIA is like skyrocketed in the last couple of years, and every other company wants to embrace a .ai domain. You have seen it. I've seen it. Like, oh yeah, you're an AI company. Yeah, I have an backend API called the ChatGPT, right? That's what it is, pretty much. And like, how do you see like AI and machine learning playing a role in event-driven architectures?
Oh, it's a match made in heaven, if you ask me. So basically, when you talk about event sourcing and when you talk about event-driven architectures, the paradigm in itself is all about not losing information, storing all the information, because you don't override anything, you don't delete anything, you just store the information that happens. Now imagine you have a company that did this for a decade, for the last 10 years, and store just everything that happened in this company. What do you think would happen if you take all this information and give it to a model and train this model on your company data of the last 10 years? This would give you such a massive edge in the market. This is super, super powerful. The problem is most companies didn't do this. Most companies don't have this data, or they don't have it in a format that is suitable to feed AI easily.
Right.
If you work with event sourcing, the format is flexible. You can put all your data into a format that is suitable to just feed it to an AI model, and you can just work with it, which is super, super powerful. So it's a match made in heaven.
Got it. So would that be the direction for companies who are even like thinking of event modeling to, if they want to scale that model? Let's say the next unicorn wants to adopt with a 1 million user base, wants to adopt event modeling, event sourcing.
Yeah.
And so would that be the direction? Like AI plus event sourcing would be the scale, like that's how you scale and then like give that performance for the millions of users that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big benefit, if you combine this with event modeling, so event modeling
Right.
allows you to plan your software system, but event modeling is so simple that you can even instruct an AI to build an event model. So if you have
Got it.
an AI model that is aware of how your business works, this AI model can model your processes for you automatically.
Got it.
So
Got it.
you can combine this easily, and the potential
Right.
is almost limitless. So there's infinite potential, if you ask me.
Right. I just saw this quote from Martin Fowler, right? Who's a great event sourcing, like he supports event sourcing, and
Yeah.
this is something he said along this lines, like event sourcing ensures that all changes to application state are stored as a sequence of events. Not only does this provide 100% reliable audit trail, but also allows us to reconstruct past states and respond to the queries, right? So that's what he says, like about
Yeah.
event sourcing. What is event sourcing in your own words, Martin?
Event
And for
sourcing,
anyone,
yeah.
anyone listening, yeah.
Event sourcing is really about not losing information. I already said that, but I will repeat this often. It's about not losing information. And
Right,
translated to software systems, it's exactly what Martin Fowler says. You store everything that happens. Whatever happens, you store it in
right,
your system as an event. So, for example,
got
let's
it.
make a very tiny example. You have an online store. You want to submit an order. The customer
Right,
submits the order. What you store is the order was submitted. That's the only fact.
right,
You store the fact the order was submitted. And whatever part of your system is interested in a submitted order, it just needs to read this fact that is already available in the system. And you do
got
this
it.
for everything that happens in the system. And then you have all these facts stored in order and you can process them. And this gives you the flexibility you need in IT systems.
Right, right, got it. And the ability to go back and forth whenever you want, because
Yeah.
you have a history of events, what happened at any given time, and you can basically replay the entire system as to, okay, what happened on, let's say, December 12th, for right XYZ date, and you can always go back and replay it, right?
You can go back and replay. Exactly. Yeah. You
Got
can
it.
set your system into a certain state, and if something in your system needs to know, okay, what was the state of my system on Christmas in 2018, you can
Right.
get exactly this information. You can use this for
Got it.
bug fixing, but you can also use this to reconstruct state to find new opportunities in the market, something like
Right,
this.
right. So you wrote the book Understanding Event Sourcing. I'm going to keep mentioning it
Yeah.
so that people go and buy it.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. So, like, who do you see the primary audience for your the book, Understanding Event Sourcing?
Let me tell you how I came to write this book. So I was
Right.
asking, I wrote this book in July 2024. So before July 2024, I had absolutely no idea that I'm going to write a book. So
Right.
in July, I was asking on LinkedIn, should I write this book? Would anybody be interested in this book? And I did not expect much of a response, to be honest. But there was a huge response. So it seemed like people were really waiting for this book. So I started to write it. And I set my goal. I wanted to write it within 2 months. I didn't really make that. It took me 3 months to write it. But I had
Right.
the goal, if I'm able to sell 50 copies of this book within 3 months,
Right.
I would be super, super happy. I did not expect anyone to read this book, to be honest.
Right.
But it was different. It's number one on Leanpub since I released it. This is a whole month now. And
Right.
I sold close to 500 copies now. I think it's about 500 copies that were sold. And it seems like people were really waiting for this book. So I think the main people who read this are developers,
Got it.
architects, and tech leaders who want to understand, okay, what is this different paradigm? How can we make this different?
Got it.
I
Yeah.
think that's the target group of this book.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw it only last night on like Leanpub, like when I was like preparing for our thing. Oh wow. Okay, it's already number one on Leanpub. So I'm gonna order it anyway, probably right after our conversation today. So I'm gonna do that. So anyone watching, it's a number one book on Leanpub, go ahead and order it. So talk to me about like the challenges of writing, because like conceptualizing and putting an architecture together is something, and then writing a book is a whole other game, right? How
Yeah.
what were the challenges getting into the writing mode of like understanding event sourcing?
I had a pretty good plan to do this, but I didn't know it
Mm,
was a good plan. So I started to
okay,
write, and I had my goal. I wanted to write 1,000 words every single day.
got it.
No matter what, I wanted to write 1,000 words every single day. I could delete it the next day. This didn't matter, but every day I need to check this off. Okay, I did write my 1,000 words. And if you
Right,
start to do this and you do this consistently, you really get into the flow of writing.
got
It
it.
really works. You are in this flow of writing, and I did this with I think there were only 2 or 3 days exception where I did not write 1,000 words. I
Got it.
consistently did this for 3 months, and
Understood.
writing was not really the hard part. So the writing was actually pretty simple. Writing 1,000 words is really
Right.
doable. The really hard part, and this really almost killed me, was the editing later. So if you have to edit everything later and bring it into form and really,
Yeah.
this was
Yeah, I know.
super hard. And this is also a problem. I really I cannot edit this book anymore. I need to wait a little bit. So if you report a bug or something on the book, you need to wait for it to be released. It's I can't edit it. It's really hard.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So anyone who like, I mean, like they always say, like when you start writing, does it make your thinking process more clearer? Because like you're able to like put down your thought, like journaling, for instance, right?
Yeah.
So does it from you started in July, let's say July, August, September, but by around like September or early November, like how was your like your thinking process change in terms of like communicating a concept, for instance? Has it changed through the writing process? Did it
No,
help any
no,
better or no?
no. Actually, I really think this book was in the making for the last 2 years in my head. I
Mm,
didn't realize it, but it was almost written. I really had
got it.
only to write down what was already in my head. I think
Got it.
this is why
It
it
was
was so easy for me to write it.
got it. Yeah, all the noise and the frustration
Yeah,
came out, and then
it's
here we
really
go.
really get it out of the head, get it on paper, and now I'm finally head is free. Wonderful. Let's do something else. Yeah.
It's amazing, amazing. So, what do you hope like for anyone like buying the book, or anyone buying the book or planning to buy the book? What do you hope the readers will take away from this book?
It's really this different mindset shift. It's a mindset shift that you need to make to think about software like this, and this
Right,
book really helps you to do this.
got it,
The hardest part, learning event sourcing and event modeling and applying it, is unlearning what you've learned for 10 years. This is the
got
hardest
it.
part, and this book really clears your head and allows you to do this restart. And this is the feedback I get all the time. All the people, they all tell me, okay, finally I get it. Finally I understand it. Thank you. And this is so great. I love to hear stuff like that.
Got it. For anyone listening, because there'll be like wide variety of like business folks, core technical folks, and everywhere in between. So anyone listening, because like with Aryan, you might know Aryan, right? So with
Yeah,
Aryan,
absolutely. Yeah, sure.
I was there at the Vancouver Event Modeling and Conference with Adam Dimitrick and the team, and
Yeah,
that's where I met Aryan, Dave Thomas, and brilliant folks like that.
great
So
guys.
Aryan, on the end of the day, or like someone wanted to actually basically set up a brewing plant. And I mentioned this in the conference as well. Like, so it has nothing to do with software or anything. So the person he wanted to set up a brewing plant for himself, right? And he knew how it needs to be done, but he was trying to conceptualize it. And like Ari and others like encouraged it. Okay, let's do an event modeling for the brewing process, right? All right, and and you know about beer than anyone else like in the world. So coming from Germany, you are so right from beer requested, the outcome that Aryan always speaks about, right? From beer requested to like the beer served or beer consumed. It was like probably 15-20 step process,
Yeah.
fermenting and everything, all of that. So it probably took 20 minutes. And we were able to see from end to end a beer brewing process from start to finish.
Isn't that
And
amazing? Yeah.
it is amazing. Yeah. Yeah. it was brilliant to witness that. I mean, event modeling was not a foreign concept to me. I got exposed to Adam Dimitrick and his team like a year and a half ago when we were consulting for a different project. That's when we met Adam through JP and whatnot. So I've known him a little bit, but like being in the conference to be able to do that, it was a live experience for a total non-technical thing, for a non-software thing, right? So that is brilliant.
It has nothing to do with technology. Event modeling has absolutely nothing to do with technology. To be honest, I also plan my vacations using event modeling. So this is a bit crazy.
There you go.
But it works. It works.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I mean, like, how do you explain event modeling? Yeah, I know we've spoken a lot about Eventsourcing. How do you explain event modeling?
Event modeling is basically just you deconstruct a process into the smallest steps possible, and you put these steps onto a timeline so that everybody can read, okay, what is this process? How is this process working from left to right? You can read exactly how your software system is working, how your business process is working. It doesn't really matter. Any process can be visualized using event modeling. And the great thing is, it's such a visual and easy language that everybody understands it. I can explain event modeling to a business person in 5 minutes, and this person will understand how it works. It only takes 5 minutes because it's so simple.
Yeah. Does it matter if companies or process? Because like I've worked with like state agencies or like commercial companies in different ways. Like some of these like traditional companies, they still use like mainframe and COBOLs and things like that. And you're trying to modernize, there are still some core pieces of the mainframe, and it's really hard to apply the change, right? It's better to rewrite it all together. But instead of the integration and like the modernization process is sometimes messier if you're trying to keep the older system, right? So I would say like, just write it new. That's a lot better than actually like trying to modernize it. So the question that came to mind is in terms of when you have places like immutable data or like unchangeable ways of doing things from the older systems, how can we apply event-driven systems to those?
So first of all, I love to event model these legacy systems. Oftentimes you have these legacy systems and nobody knows, okay, how is this actually working? What happens inside? And the only way to understand it, if you ask me, is to event model them. So basically you're just rebuilding the documentation for a system. This is the best way to understand, okay, how does it actually work? And then if you want to start modernizing these systems, you don't touch these systems if you don't have to. So the easiest way is, for example, you just look at the database of these systems. You look at the data that is stored in these systems, and then you attach something, for example, like it's called a change data capture to these databases. You extract the data, and these change data captures give you the data into, for example, a Kafka or into an event store. It doesn't matter. But you release this data, you decouple the data from these legacy systems. And as soon as you unchained this data, it's available, then you can really start working with it. And then you can event model the processes, use the data from these systems, and start to rebuild parts of these systems from scratch. And as soon as you did that, you can shut down small parts of this legacy application. And you repeat this all over the place. And if you're done, you can shut down the whole application and everything is migrated to a new application, hopefully.
Understood. I would love for like the DDD, as they call it, the domain-driven design and whatnot. Like sometimes the domain is like beyond the domain itself, right? There's like cross to multiple pollination of like multiple domains across, for example, like manufacturing or healthcare or education. Like there are like series of multiple domains put together. Do you see any challenges when cross domains or multiple domains come together when applying this technique?
I don't think so. So I'm still looking for scenarios where this doesn't really work, but until now, I didn't find any. So the process is so simple, and all the processes basically work the same. And with event modeling, you just visualize them. So it always works. It just works.
Got it. So the positive scenarios are always there. I'm just trying, for anyone listening about like event modeling or event sourcing, I'm just trying to bring up those questions. Hey, no, I have multiple domains. Mine is too old. I cannot do it. Mine is too complex. I cannot do it. No, the answer is you can. And you and I know it. Like I'm just saying for anyone listening about, oh no, we have to take care of like the DNA, like the disaster recovery and things like that. And we have a lot of compliance activities to take care of. Can it still be done for a disaster recovery and a resilience mode as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Got
So
it.
as I said, you just model the processes. Every
Got
software
it.
follows a process. So
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with technology. How you build it is a different story. It doesn't matter if you build it as an event-driven system, if you build it as an event-sourced system, if you don't build anything, but you just document your existing system. Event modeling is decoupled from that. You don't talk about technology. This is why it's so beautiful to talk with business experts. There's no
Got it.
technology in there. As soon as you start technology, as soon as you bring in databases and microservices and APIs and stuff like that, all the business experts immediately stop listening because they don't understand it. They don't have to. They should not care about this stuff. They should care
Got
about the
it.
real problems. And
Yeah.
this is why
Yeah.
event modeling is so powerful.
Yeah. How do you see the cloud, like slight switch of gears, and like how do you see the cloud native and the event driven architectures playing together? And with your Kafka experience as well, like how do you see all of this playing a role in creating an event driven and a cloud native system put together?
Oh, that's beautiful. Cloud and event-driven systems are playing perfectly well together. If you need to work with event-driven systems, you need the proper setup for this. So you can have very simple systems, but as soon as you start having big systems, you need something to decouple these systems. Then you need a Kafka cluster, maybe a Kubernetes cluster, even, I don't know. Maintaining this is pretty hard. Maintaining a Kafka cluster in production is pretty hard. And the cloud technologies, they really help you setting this up. If you use the Confluent Cloud Stack, you basically just one click away from bootstrapping a new cluster and just working with it. Also, having all these technologies in AWS or in the Azure cloud, they really just help. They make things faster. Of course, they don't come for free. So, example, running Kafka clusters in production can become extremely expensive if you're not careful. But just needs proper analysis and proper setup to do it right.
Got it. I did do some research with when for this podcast, but even though maybe there is always more research I want to do, like great things like that. So I saw something very interesting about Accelerate program. Can you talk a little bit about like the Accelerate program that you're like championing?
Yeah, so that's one of the main offers of my company. The goal of the company is very simple. I want to help other companies adapt event modeling, adapt event-driven architectures, and learn other different ways to build software. That's all I'm doing. That's the goal of the company. And the Accelerate program is basically the way how I do this. You can just buy tooling from my company for event modeling. So I have a tool suite to build event models in Miro. Most people will know Miro. This is the online whiteboard tool that almost everybody uses. And because everybody uses it, I'm using it also to build event models. So if you work with me, we work with Miro typically. And I have a tooling in Miro that allows you to build event models. Very simple.
Got it.
You just need a few clicks and then your event model is ready. Also with AI integration, since we already talked about AI, so you can also use AI to build these event models.
Right.
And the Accelerate program is basically just, you can have the tooling, you can have the consulting, and even I can support you building the software. That's basically the 3 building blocks that I offer. And the goal is to make it faster, better, and more reliable to build software, hopefully.
Got it. It will be like a like end-to-end white glove service for anyone getting into. Got it. Understood. Yeah. Understood. Did you have any like crazy or like interesting stories? Do you want to share about like trying to apply to anyone or for a team or anyone looking at it? Like their questions or anything? Any crazy or like funny stories that you want to share about applying the program?
One story maybe was we built a software for what's the English word, for a law-based software for law.
Okay.
And these people were very hesitant to event modeling. So exactly as you said, they were saying, no, this doesn't work for us. No, we can't do this. Right. This doesn't work.
Right.
So what I offered was let's just do one session and I'm gone. If you say after this session it doesn't work, it's perfectly fine. I'm gone. Within this one session, we modeled almost the whole domain. We modeled the whole system, and suddenly they started to see things they didn't see before. They saw, okay, wow, this is why this takes so long. This is the problem here. Now we're seeing it directly on the whiteboard, and it only took us a few hours to model this. And it's not.
Right.
It was not because I'm the expert and I modeled it. They came to the conclusion. I was just there to facilitate the session. They came to the conclusion and they realized, okay, these are the 3 bottlenecks in our process. This is why it takes so long. And it's very easy. It was a very easy fix in the end.
Right. There you go.
This happens.
There you go. For anyone thinking about like, no, we are a very process-oriented company. We go by the process, the documentation, the waterfalls. I mean, like when I initially saw Agile in 2006 or 7 for the first time, I thought, wow, the world is going to change, and it's going to be the best. And it's like how many years? 17 years from after, and looks like Agile has become its own governance term or administration. It has become very like administrative,
few certifications,
the burn down charts and things like that. So and someone said, I saw a quote like, if Agile is so good, why are the products not that great, right? So I mean so like how do you respond to or like process things like that? Okay, we have seen waterfall and obviously it did not work, and we have seen Agile, right? Like, and obviously I'm seeing like there is a light. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel with event modeling, of course, and like coming from decades of like seeing all these different processes play through technology development. Like what is your observation? I think that's a question. Yeah,
I think that is the reason why it's not so easy to sell anything new. So if you do something new, people are really hesitant for a good reason. I mean, I was also on this train. Microservices, great. I love microservices. Everything should be a microservice. Great. Well, turned out that was not the best solution. Agile, great. Let's agile everything. Wonderful. Let's daily scrum. Let's do daily scrums. We need definitely some refinements. Also not the best idea. So doing something new is not the easiest thing. And especially if you work with a company, they don't know about event modeling. They don't know about software modeling. It takes quite some time to get them to be comfortable using something like event modeling, something like Eventsourcing and all that stuff. So we are some people who do new stuff. Adam does new stuff, Adam Dimitruk, and I'm basically working very similar to what Adam does. So we're trying to get this really, really going. And the book is one thing why I really hope this will help. The book will bring this information to many, many more people.
Got it. No, I wish that happens, and I'm already in team event modeling. I like it. Let's go. I mean, like I told the same thing to Ariane and like to Adam. Yeah, I'm already sold in the concept. Like, so if there are projects that when we are engaging or modernizing or like from scratch, obviously we would love to use event modeling. So, but I think it is a no-brainer coming this far, right?
I don't know a single person who works with event modeling who says no, this is not for us. I know many people who say, no, this is not for us, but they never tried it. But I don't know a single person and a single company who said, no, this doesn't work for us, who really, really tried it.
Got it. Switching gears to a different topic, slightly in the technology domain, slightly different topic in terms of like, so all these products and services that we are building for, you and I, everyone we are building for, is basically for the users to use it. Right. Yeah. So we want customers to use it, the clients to use it. How do you see the probably the business folks or the business stakeholders, like how do you see the user experience playing a role in effective software planning strategy?
User experience plays a crucial role.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm also building a software product. This is this event modeling tooling. I see it all the time. So user experience here plays an absolutely crucial role.
Right.
So I have people who help me with this, but it's really hard. Getting good user experience is really hard. And especially if you have many stakeholders and many people who are involved, getting it right is really hard. So you need really good people who are able to build great user experience. And it's not only about UI. Many people think
Got it.
user experience is only about UI. It's not.
No.
The user experience goes through the whole stack, through the whole system.
I know.
It's all user experience.
I know. I was, I forget who I was talking to about this topic, but something I noticed was like notifications, for instance. Notifications in the application is heavily underused. Anyone listening, I think, should go and dominate that. My experience is because like LinkedIn, for instance, I think regardless of the user interface and everything, that's great. You're able to post, like, interact. That's great. But I think one of the key feature about user experience is notifications, right? Because you get notified. I mean, I've seen dashboards, beautiful dashboards, heavily underutilized notification system. Right? Let me give you an example. So there is this airline here called United in the US, right? So I'm traveling. So I'm basically, probably have seen something similar with Lufthansa or otherwise. I'm not sure. So what I saw was like they encourage you to download the app and things like that. So you have the United app on me. So as soon as the flight lands, right, you get a notification that, okay, when you're taking you're transiting, you're taking a connection, and let's say you have to walk, like, so as soon as you land and you're on the gate, it says like, the next flight is 7 minutes away. You have to walk 7 minutes across the airport, right? So that notification is brilliant, because especially when you have to like switch flights, and let's say there's only 45 minutes left, and should I run or should I walk? You never know, right? So that is like very spot on, and the notification coming from the app is like brilliantly used. I haven't seen any other airline use it that effectively, and it gives like very timely notification. Similarly with our applications, right? I'm saying the dashboards, the notification part is heavily underused. I'm sure there's a lot can be done with user experience.
Yeah. So I have another example for this, because we are using notifications heavily. At my current customer that I'm working with, we are not using notifications heavily in monitoring our software. So monitoring is a good example for notifications. If anything goes wrong or anything doesn't work as expected, you get notifications. This is so crucial. And when I started with this customer, there were no notifications, nothing. You have to do everything manually, checking databases, checking state of the system manually. Now you get all these notifications, and you don't have. If there is no notifications, there is no need to do anything.
100%. Because like so that application or the product, I think they have taken the notification seriously, because like notification is like mission critical for them. Okay, what if there's an emergency, right? So they have to have the notification, and because like what frustrates me is like when I see, okay, last logged in at November 12th at 3:45 p.m. That doesn't help me at all, right? Like no one cares about like when did I? Okay, maybe some do, but I'm saying like that is not a useful notification. It's not a good user experience. Like, come on, can we do something better, right? So that is something I love, and something I wish like we spend more on the user experience in different ways. I think these are like not just the UI notifications, one other way, and even like the quick response to because like system integrate with different enterprise systems, and if you're able to get a quicker API response just in time, I think that is very, very useful. So speaking of like event-driven architectures and event sourcing compared to traditional methods, like how do you actually measure the impact, Martin, end to end?
The impact,
because in a traditional way, they have different ways of measuring. Like, so is there a particular way to measure the impact we have made through event sourcing?
You mean for example what you can measure, for example, is how fast you can build systems.
Got it.
This is something you can do. So if you and that's also something I talk about a lot in the book, is that if you use these methodologies, software suddenly becomes plannable. I talk a lot about plannable systems, because traditionally software systems are not plannable. You do a lot. You estimate systems. You try to estimate them, but usually you use something like story points if you come from the agile world. where you measure complexity of a system. And what happens after that, after the estimation, people take these story points and they translate them to man days, which doesn't make any sense because this was never the intention.
No. Right.
And software developers are forced to give estimations with super bad requirements. And based on that, we make plans for the next 6 months and spend millions of dollars to build software systems. And the plan is just bad. It just doesn't work. And everybody knows it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think that's really a big problem. And if you apply the methodologies I describe in the book and the methodologies that Adam Dimitruk teaches, it makes software systems planable because you break them down into small work packages. So
Right.
I personally work with work items of 1 day.
Got it.
I break software down into work items of 1 day, basically. And if you break software down into these work items and you have 100 work items planned in your event model, you know exactly I'm done in 100 days. It will take me exactly 100 days to build this thing. And if you have 50 work items done, you know exactly you are 50% done. And this is reliable. This is reliable planning because it's based on experience. I know it takes me about a day to build one software package, one work item.
Right. Got it. So the burn down chart really burns down. So
it burns down, exactly. And in addition to that,
Yeah.
it stays flexible. So the plan is not as in Agile or in Waterfall, you can't change it. It's flexible.
Right.
You can adjust it.
Yeah.
And this will happen. Every plan changes all the time. Change is inevitable in software. But we never addressed that until now.
Got it. For teams listening, for decision makers listening, project managers listening, and they want to apply event-driven architecture, and if they want to apply these techniques, so where should they start from? Should they start from the most basic feature that they have, or should they start from the most annoying bugs that they have? Like, which is the right place to start? Like, because they want to apply it and they're thinking about where to start, right?
Yeah, I would definitely start with one process that is critical, a critical process, not to rebuild it or something, but to understand it. This is a good use case to apply, and I would just use that and try to really understand it. How does it work?
Right.
And
got it.
If you want to build a software system using Eventsourcing, for example, I would do the exact opposite. I would take a very simple use case and just get used to it, because traditionally it takes about 3 months to get used to this whole concept and to work with it.
Right. Got it. Understood.
Making a simple use case or even a proof of concept can also work, is probably the best way to start it. Got
it. And for anyone trying to approach it, okay, what are these guys talking about? Event modeling, event sourcing, and to folks who are like looking at the book and they have already frustrated through Agile and Waterfall. There are people who have not entering the business world. They have not even heard of any of this, right? So there are percentage of people who have not heard of any of this. How do you explain event sourcing to a total non-technical audience? Like using, if you want to use metaphors, go for it. But how do you describe? They're not in this world, and if you want to explain event sourcing, how do you explain it to them? So basically, typically, if you explain something to a non-technical person, software developers always start with the database. Okay, we have this database. We store information in this database. You click on this button, then this new row gets stored in the database. This is not what happens in event source systems. In event sourcing, as I said before, you basically store just the facts that happen in the system. When you start event modeling in a system, the first thing we do in a session, when we do the first session with a customer, the first thing we do is it's called brainstorming. Right. Basically, you stand in front of a whiteboard and you just write down what could happen in your system. For example, it could be order was sent, customer was logged in, cart item was added, something like this. And after this initial brainstorming session, sometimes we have more than 100 events collected. Really a lot. It's just brainstorming. Put on the board everything. And in these sessions, all the people are there. Business people, technical people. I often recommend even the CEO should take part in the first few sessions because he knows the vision. He knows, or she knows where the product should be headed. So it's a crucial person in the first few sessions. And then you collect all these facts and suddenly
you have this big picture on the board. What is our system?
Right.
How does it work? And then you bring all these facts into an order. This is the second phase of a workshop. You build the story of the system, basically. Bring all these facts in an order, and suddenly you have the story. You have a real story of your system, and you can read it from left to right. You know exactly what happens. And the next thing we do is you build the screens. You mock up the screens. You draw the screens, sometimes only on a piece of paper. Just, okay,
Right.
here could be a field. This could be a button, something like that. And suddenly people realize, oh my God, yeah, I understand it. It works. Great.
Yeah.
This is something that is really, really underestimated. The power of UX and planning, the power of screens.
Yeah.
There was a great story. I was on a conference together with Adam in Vienna in early 2024, and there were two people discussing. It was a conference about modeling. So we were talking about event modeling there, and two people were discussing in a heated debate, but they didn't realize they were discussing completely different things.
Right.
But they were really, really debating. And we only could solve this by drawing a few screens, say, okay, you're talking about this one, but you are talking about the other screen. So you're talking about different things. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And this was such a great example, because suddenly they said, oh my God, yes, you are right. We're talking about completely different things. Okay, let's move on.
How many times I remember like going into conference rooms and then basically discussing over and over, and basically doesn't lead us to any proper decision making, or except for status tracking or something, but it doesn't lead to a productive outcome.
Most meetings are like that, right? Most meetings.
Yeah, most meetings are like that. Yeah, because I'd rather like seen like even modeling probably 10 years ago, and like instead of like agile, right? I mean, like nothing against agile, but I'm saying like that a lot of time could have been saved. A lot of like meetings could have been saved, right? You know it, I know it.
I really must say I'm not a big fan of agile anymore. Not because it doesn't work, but because of what it became. So there's a lot of cargo cult around agile. You do all these meetings, the daily scrum. It's basically just a reporting to the scrum master or a reporting to the product owner. And if you ask me, this is just a waste of time, because most developers are really capable of talking to their teammates without the daily scrum. We don't need this. And we don't need estimation meetings. We don't need these refinements. This is all a big waste of time, if you ask me. If you properly plan your system, you don't need anything of that. And
that's right.
As you said, most meetings are like that. If you don't have a clear agenda for a meeting, and you don't have a clear outcome of a meeting, it's just a waste of time. And you 100%. Should be able to leave this meeting. What I often do in meetings is I often start event modeling without asking.
Yeah.
I just event model, and then I share my screen in the middle of the meeting, and I just ask, okay, this is what I wrote down. Does everybody agree? Is this how it works?
Good strategy.
Then people are more than happy to jump in and say, no, this is not how it works. This is completely wrong. And this is perfect. Wonderful. I love to be wrong. I love to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because then we have a base for discussion. Okay, tell me, what is the real process? Let's talk about it. And then suddenly, people who have no idea how event modeling works start to event model. They're drawing screens. Okay, let's do it like this. This is how it works. Okay, great. After this session, we have a working event model. Wonderful.
Right. No, love that. No, yeah, I see that what agile has become, what it started as, and what it has become. No, I'm not loving that. I thought it had its heart at the right place in terms of like transforming the process from waterfall, but it has gone to a place where it is like we cannot really take it back, right? So. And so very unfortunate with that. Yeah,
I even saw it. I saw this just recently. There is a new thing coming up, which is called Agile 2. Have you heard of Agile 2?
Oh, really? One was not enough. Now we want the two.
Yeah, I didn't look it up how it really works, but I was really surprised to see something like Agile 2, because I mean we all know the second part is always worse than the first one, right? No matter.
Yeah, I mean, like, what can you do? Are you going to add like 2 product owners instead of 1? Because
I don't know.
Let's have 2 product backlogs, right? I mean,
maybe that's the solution. Who knows?
Yeah, 2.0. Yeah, whatever. So, like, how do you see, Martin? Like, what excites you about like the future of software development? How do you see the future?
I'm telling you, I can't wait to see this unfold. What software development will look like in 2 years from now. And I'm not talking about AI or something. I don't think AI will fundamentally change. So many people think AI will change everything. I don't think this is the case. It will change a few things, but it will not change everything. But if we make the switch to fundamentally approach software in a different way, this will change a lot. This will change everything, and I really can't wait to see it.
Got it.
I'm still believing until the end of 2025, everything will have changed 1 year from now.
Got it. Got it. Is that a second book in mind already?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No, so what currently happens is there were so many topics I couldn't put into the book. So currently, every 2 weeks there is a new chapter of the book. So it's not done. So
Got it.
the book is released, but every 2 weeks there is a new chapter, and they are called the missing chapters. I'm writing
Okay,
the missing
interesting.
chapters. So every 2 weeks there's a
Okay,
new chapter, and people can suggest the chapters to write.
got it. Got it. So
Currently
the online
there are
version
about
will
5 or
keep
6
getting
chapters in the
updated.
backlog.
Yeah. Oh no, that's nice. It's like a good GitHub source code. You can keep updating your source code. Like you get the latest version. Yeah, it's right. So you're applying the software concept to book writing.
Yeah,
So you can get the latest version of the book like every
yeah,
2 weeks or whatever,
yeah,
like
exactly.
whatever frequency
Yeah.
you have. Yeah, that's
But
nice.
the only problem is currently the book is about 550 pages, so it's quite a big book. And I
Yeah,
really fear when we are all done and everybody agrees, okay, now we are done, everything is in the book. We'll
right,
be way more than 1,000 pages, which is quite a lot. But
right, right. If you time is always a constraint for everyone around the globe.
yeah,
Everyone has the same 24 hours. So if you had unlimited time, right? So if you had enough time and like 6 months, a year, you have enough time. Like, what is that one passionate project that you would love to tackle?
the one passionate project I would love to tackle. So what I would do is I would just go on a journey and offer event modeling sessions for each and every company, everywhere,
Got it.
every day for another company. That is what I would do.
Love that. Love that. Is there any advice you want to share for like young developers and consultants who are getting into this journey of like technology?
Yeah, don't listen to all the best practices. Don't listen to what other people are saying. You need to find out what really works, and
Right.
you can skip almost anything in software development. 80% is just bloated stuff. You don't need this. Keep it
Right.
simple and find out what really works, and find ways to
Yeah.
quickly solve problems. This is what software development is all about.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Understood. Like, and how do they approach that? Because like every topic you touch is an ocean, right? Let's say DevOps, for instance. DevOps started as something like IAC, infrastructure as code, and now it has become its own monster.
Yeah,
With I think Terraform is not there anymore, but like it has become its own monster. Similarly with like a SQL database world,
yeah,
SQL NoSQL world. Similarly with the APIs, the gateways, and stuff. So everything you touch seems to be an ocean of its own.
it is
So
absolutely.
how do they really navigate this landscape,
Oh,
Martin? Because like when I
that is
started,
simple.
it was not
That
as
is simple.
crazy as it is right now. Because every 2 weeks there's a new library.
Yeah, that is simple. Pick exactly one thing. Pick one thing and become the world best expert in it.
Got it.
I did this for my whole career. I always had
Right.
this one topic that I was driving. When I started, it was Git version control. Git version
Right.
control. I was the super expert in Git version control. I gave corporate trainings, wrote books about it. I did everything with Git. And now I'm doing the same with event modeling. I always have one topic that I'm really, really good at.
Got it.
I think
Any given time.
that's a good strategy.
Yeah. No, that's good. I love that. Was there like any early inspirations from like particular authors or like particular founders or anything? What was your inspiration from leaders or architects or anything
I mean,
that draw your attention?
there were definitely a few people who really were significant for my whole career. One was Greg Young. So Greg Young Definitely.
Yeah.
I know every
Great
single
guy.
video of Greg Young. I know everything he wrote.
Right.
We even he showed up in a webinar recently, in one of my webinars. That was also pretty amazing. So,
Lovely.
yeah. Greg Young, Adam Dimitruk, of course, very influential. And of course, also people like Eric Evans, for example, for domain-driven design. And so,
Right.
yeah, I mean, you know all these people. It's the typical people that are really, really influential. But I think if I had to choose one, it was probably Greg Young, because he brought me into this event sourcing world very early.
Yeah. I took something that, since you mentioned Eric Evans, I took something that he said about domain-driven design. Like he said, like by capturing domains, events as they occur, we can create a rich history of systems behavior, which can be invaluable for understanding and evolving the domain model. That's what he said in his like domain-driven design book. By Eric Evans. Like great people, of course, no doubt at all. So that kind of brings us closer to our close. I just wanted to ask you some fun little questions to know a little bit more about you. And like, so what do you do besides Nebulit? What do you do besides event sourcing? If you're not doing event sourcing, what do you do otherwise to like relax or unwind? And what is your favorite hobby?
So I have two hobbies. One is 11 years old. One is 7 years old. So I have two kids.
Right. Love that.
Besides that, there is not much time. So if I'm not working, kids take up most of the time. And this is what it's supposed to be.
Got it. And if someone has to, if you have to describe Martin Dilger with one word, how do you describe yourself?
Passionate.
Love that. And is there any a particular book or an author that had the most impact in your life? Not just technical book, like any book. Was there any particular book?
I think it was, there's this one book, How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Oh yeah, Dale Carnegie, yeah.
Yeah, I think I read this at least 10 times. Everybody should read this.
It's a great book. It's a great book. I've did it twice, not 10 times yet, but like it's a great book, no doubt. What's your like favorite productivity tool or a favorite productivity hack?
So I'm a very structured person. So I'm using I even forgot the name. I think it's the PARA method. It's the PARA method. It's basically how you structure your day, how you structure your tasks. It's just a methodology how to really structure everything you do. Basically, and that's my productivity hack. PARA method.
How do you spell it? Like,
PARI. I think that was it.
PARI. PARI. Okay, got it. Perfect. And is there a particular software app or a favorite like software library or something that you cannot live without?
No, it's Notion.
Right.
My whole life is in Notion. Everything is in Notion.
Is it like a capture tool, like notes capture tool, or what kind of tool is it? I haven't used it.
So it's freely available. It's Notion. I think it's Notion.org or something. It's basically you can you can add items in there. It's basically like a notes app, but you can add items in there and structure them. My whole life is in Notion. Everything. For the last 15 years already.
Got it. Obviously, when people are like a software consultant or a business consultant, there are a lot of myths about it. Like, what is your biggest myth about being a consultant?
The biggest myth: consultants know everything.
They don't.
Really? You're not consultant.
Yeah, I mean, like, I thought they did until the day I became a consultant. So no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But many consultants try to look like that. So that's a big problem in our whole industry.
Yeah, no. Actually, the fun story is like I was telling Dave Thomas there that I think when we were speaking, for some conversation, this came up and we said like, I think the moment when I realized like I will not know everything and I don't know everything, I think that actually gave me an opportunity, at least go ahead and like not be an expert, at least go and research and find out what it is, right? That for the first time, okay, when like 2 years ago, I didn't know what event modeling was at all, right? At least like it gave me an opportunity to go understand it, concept, appreciate it. And like now I'm having conversation with like folks like yourself, right? So I think that because I will not know everything. That's a fact I acknowledge and admit it to myself. So,
Yeah.
so
And
that gives
that's
me
a
an
good
opportunity
thing.
to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think having that open mind actually kind of helps a little bit, at least in my everyday.
Yeah.
What is your favorite drink, Martin? Like, are you a coffee or a tea person?
Coffee. Absolutely. Yeah.
You
Coffee.
love coffee?
I love coffee. I love good coffee. Yeah.
Got it. What would be your is that like a proudest moment in your professional career that you want to highlight about?
The proudest moment. That's a good question. I think one of the biggest moments was when I met Adam Dimitruk for the first time in Munich in person. That
Right.
was really great.
Right. Lovely guy. Yeah, amazing. I've met him just recently in Vancouver in person. Prior that, it's all remote. Yeah. Kudos to Adam Dimitruk and event modeling. Love that. If you were not in the tech world, what career would you have chosen?
I think it's I don't know the word for it. In German, it's Schreiner. Somebody who works with wood.
With wood, like the carpenting and the furniture and things like that. Okay.
I would. This is what I do. This is what I do on the weekends. I do a lot with wood. So
Got it.
That would be a good career for me.
You like to build stuff.
I like to build
got
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
Got it. Is there a particular skill or something that you're currently learning and you are wanting to learn from the last few years?
No, not right now. So the big focus right now is building the company and stuff like that. There's not too much time besides that.
Got it. Understood. And how has been the journey building the company? Is there anything from when you started until now? Are there any moments of lessons learned? Top 2 lessons learned, if you want to share.
The top lesson is definitely don't do everything yourself. This is a big problem when you come from the freelancing world and you've been a freelancer. As a freelancer, you are used to do everything yourself. If you do the same for your company, you will miserably fail. And this is, I'm still learning that. So I'm still learning, okay, I can't do everything myself. There are things which are simply, there are people who can do this much better than I can. So I think that's the biggest learning I had to make and I'm still making.
Got it. And if you were to recommend 2 guests that I should go ahead and talk to, who will those 2 guests be?
Oh, that's also an interesting question. So definitely get Greg Young. I want to have Greg Young.
Sure.
And the other one would be, I'm not quite sure. I don't know.
You can let me know later
on
our chat. That's totally fine. Take your time, no problem. So probably this is the last question. One thing that people do not know about you. Is there anything that you want to share that people do not know about you?
In my early days, I was a hip hop star. I had my own. Yeah, I had my own hip hop bands, and there are still videos around. If you're very good at Googling, you will find videos me standing on stage and rapping like a young god.
Wow, there you go. Martin Dilger. Right? Yeah, I didn't know that. I would have. I wouldn't have guessed also. So it was a surprise. So yeah.
Yeah. Martin, I stopped my music career, so it will not come back. It's over.
Maybe in a while, maybe 5 years from now, you're releasing a new album.
It's not. I don't think so. But
Understanding Eventsourcing, the new album, right?
Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, just giving ideas. Okay, yeah. Martin, it was an absolute pleasure, man. I so thoroughly enjoyed the conversation today. Thank you so much for doing this. I wish you all the luck and the best wishes from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was really a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.